Now we're live.
Greg, I've always wanted to do the Penn State Blitz from an unknown airport location.
That's right.
And now I can check this off my bucket list. Actually, we are in Harrisburg's airport.
We're back.
That's the giveaway.
It's Ohio State week, Bob.
It's Ohio State week, but we got to start with what happened in Champaign. Kind of a weird game. I feel like we've been talking about weird games all year.
Yeah.
Two different games, really. For a while there, it looked like Penn State was in trouble. I thought they were in trouble, actually. And then they go on a 42-0 run in like the final 20 minutes of the game and make it look easy. What is your sense of this team and how good it is right now and how good it can be?
Yeah, we talked about it in the build-up to this game, Bob, that Penn State's probably not the best version of itself yet. James Franklin had a real interesting quote after the game. He said, "I don't think we've played a complete game since we've been here to our standards." So we're talking 5 years of football. It's his viewpoint that they have not played a complete game since he's been here. I don't know if he misspoke, but I think his point was basically that the standard they have is pretty darn high, and they have to do just about everything right, and they usually have a few series or a couple of quarters or a whole half that are not so good.
Yeah.
So this team, Bob, I think clearly has deficiencies at linebacker, clearly defensive line. It was supposed to be a strength. I don't know if it is. One guy seems to have a good game each game, and then 3 or 4 other ones maybe don't perform up to standard. So we'll see. John Reed's not himself as well.
Yeah.
We don't know what's up with Donovan Johnson, so time will tell, but it's time to figure out things in a hurry. I guess the good news is for Penn State fans, they're 4-0 going into Ohio State week.
Yeah, when you're in your 5th year of the program and you haven't played a complete game yet, I don't think that's the greatest take that you can have. He might want to walk that back at some point, maybe on Tuesday. They've played some pretty solid games. This game, though, just it was a little disappointing to see them defensively. They've recruited well. They have athletes on defense. What they don't have is athletic football players yet on defense. You see some people really struggling either to react, recognize, or diagnose plays. They're not always in the right positions. When the adjustments come, they often come late in games. Their defense actually did figure things out in the 4th quarter and for most of the 3rd. But you just wonder, when they play Ohio State, you can't wait till midway through the 3rd quarter to figure things out against Ohio State. Just to touch on a couple of offensive things, a couple of unsung heroes in the game. One for me was Ricky Slade. Penn State was in a bind, I thought, because Mark Allen did not make the trip. Obviously, he's dealing with an injury. That's a nice little announcement. And they were going to have to run Miles Sanders about 35 times to win this game unless they got something out of Ricky Slade. I thought he really, really came to the rescue there for the offense. The other thing is, the offensive line, I think, is pretty legit. There might be better offensive lines in the Big Ten, Greg.
Yeah.
But this one's almost in the conversation, and it speaks to when you consider where Penn State was in 2014. He really has figured out a way to straighten out the offensive line. Would you consider that to be one of the, after Trace McSorley, maybe the team strength?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, at this point, what else would you point to? Maybe Blake Gillikin.
Yep.
I think he's probably in that conversation. But other than that, I mean, this is a group that went from they didn't have a too deep of scholarship players who are rehashing things, but they now have a group of guys that even when they put the backups in late in blowouts, Bob, there's no drop-off.
Yeah.
Now, it helps when John Clifford's, 5 for 5? I think he said 5 for 5 for 1,000 yards.
He's got 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
He's averaging 200 yards of completion.
Yeah, it's amazing. But when you have that, I mean, it just, you clearly are developing what you set out to. So Penn State's been able to do that.
Okay, let's talk about Ohio State a little bit. The last 2 games at Beaver Stadium, the crowd has been a factor. In 2014, a not great Penn State team pushed them into double overtime. The 2016 game, it looked like Ohio State had won 21-7. They come back and make some plays. What's your expectation for the crowd's influence, and what does Penn State need to do that they haven't done yet against Ohio State?
Yeah, the biggest thing really to me is just simply that Penn State will get 107, maybe more, 1,000 fans in that stadium. They're going to probably, I would assume, have College Game Day, the ESPN broadcast from State College. I don't know where else it would go based on the schedule. So you're going to have all the makings of what Penn State's had for previous upsets of Ohio State. And look, they're going to be an underdog. They're obviously the lower ranked team of the two. So an upset's the word. And I think you're going to have it off the field. The question is, do you have on the field what it takes to beat Ohio State? They certainly have the offense to score enough points. They certainly have the speed on defense to stay with Ohio State for the most part. Do they have the guys to make key plays late in the game when you need them most? And do they have keep in mind Garrett Sickles comes out, back in the last win over Ohio State.
Right.
He comes off the suspension and terrorizes in the second half. You knew he could do that. Maybe he didn't do it all the time, but you knew he could. Who on this defensive line do you trust right now to do it? Sharif Miller, maybe, and that might be about it. So I think that's what you're going to have to wait and see. Who's going to be the unsung hero?
I really like J.K. Dobbins, the Ohio State running back. My sense is it's going to come down to Penn State's defense against the dual-threat quarterback Dwayne Haskins. If you look at the history of the game with Franklin here, 2014, 2015, 2017, J.T. Barrett killed them.
Yes.
He absolutely killed them, especially last year in the second half. In 2016, they did a much better job on him.
Yeah.
They traditionally have not played dual-threat quarterbacks very well. So to me, if they can make that guy one-dimensional, I think they're going to have a great shot. But if that guy, Haskins, can make plays with his arm and his legs, I think Penn State's got to be in trouble. And honestly, the offense shouldn't be expected to score 50 points every game to win against a good team.
Right.
I expect it to be a high-scoring game. I just don't know if this Penn State defense is ready. They're going to need a lot of help from the crowd.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, Bob.
All right, that's it from the airport.